Yo guys, what is going on? Pandrea here, back with another video, and in today's video we are talking about the snap change. Now, a lot of people might know the snap change as being probably the most famous color change in all of Magic, but a lot of people also don't perform the snap change, and maybe that's because people don't understand really how to perform it correctly, the different types of snap changes sort of that you can do. We think of it as an overused sleight, but in my opinion, I think it's underused. I think it is a good color change if done right. So in today's video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes. Let's talk about the snap change. Let's talk about the theory behind it, learn to do it correctly, a few different ways to do it, and then you could go out and snap change your way to shocking reactions and awe and fame and glory and all of that good stuff that card magic brings you. So in my opinion, the snap change itself, done, I think how we know it, is not the best way to do it. There are, and frankly, very simple modifications that you can do, that you can make to the snap change to make it make more sense in the eyes of maybe a layman. Now, it's very hard to see through the eyes of a layman. I think we could all agree to that. But nonetheless, when you're taking a card, if we're doing the change, a lot of people, what happens is they put their whole hand, all fingers, on top, covering almost half of the card. And what's gonna happen is from here, and then you do the change, and now you're left with the one finger. So the discrepancy between the two is far apart. And this is one thing that I didn't like about the snap change, okay? So we're gonna try to correct that as best as possible. One way that you can start correcting this is to not do it so much, right? So if you see yourself putting your hand too far on to the card, maybe you want to take it a little bit further back, until it feels a little bit more natural, a little bit more comfortable, okay? So I like to do it sort of from here, all right? So that these two fingers are on the card just about till the first knuckle of the finger, all right? That's step number one. And of course, it's gonna be harder to do it this way because sometimes, you see, that's gonna happen. You're not gonna get a good grip on the card. So start here, more, until you'll be able to even do the snap change just like this, where you're here, and you can still do the move with just very minimal amount of pressure onto the card, okay? So first mistake is too much. Take it back a notch, okay? Take it easy. Scale it back, practice it, and by, in no time, really, you're gonna get from here to here, all right? Second thing that I wanna talk about is putting 3 fingers on. I see this all the time. When I learned the snap change, it was 2 fingers, and I learned it like this. I learned it from 2 fingers, and instead of doing it this way, I learned it this way, all right? So now when you do it, now the discrepancy is not as much, right? 2 fingers to 1 finger, fine. Now once you scale everything back, you'll notice that you're gonna go from placing your whole hand, almost covering all of the card, to scaling it back to as close to the border as possible, to going to 2 fingers, to now going to 1 finger, holding it with 1 finger, and now only when you want to do the change does that second finger come up and then do the change. And this way, what happens before the change is the same as what happens after, okay? So the discrepancy is you're taking it from very far apart to closer together, okay? So if your end result is this, then try to start with it like this. Okay, obviously we need the second finger when we do the move, but again, here, and there, okay? So that's just the evolution of what it should be, okay? So from here, that was my imitation of people trying to do this move, to something a little bit better, all right? All right, let's get into the technique of the snap change, how to actually do it with the fingering position and the motions and everything like that. And then we're gonna talk about how to actually make it look good, all right? So 2 cards obviously is needed for this change. If you didn't know this, this might be a shocker to you, but you need 2 cards lined up as 1, all right? So you're gonna obviously need to know how to maneuver 2 cards as 1. I have a video on doing double lifts and all of that. You can click here to watch that. If you don't know, if you're a beginner, you watch that, you learn that, and then you come back and then you have a better understanding of how to turn over 2 cards as 1. So here are just a few ways that you can get into the position while the card is on top, the card that is the selected card, let's say, and then the card that you're going to show as the indifferent card is second to the top. You're going to place them here, and now a lot of the times here's what happens. You're going to go into, let's say, your double lift that you usually do, and then you're going to maneuver around and try to get it into position, and you don't want to do that, right? You want to be able to go from the double that you just did into position right away, okay? So here's a few ways to do this. Sometimes I would get my break under the two cards, move everything forward, and now when I show the top card, I grab it exactly in the position that I need to do the snap change from here and then to do it. All right, so again, here, move forward, grab, and we're gonna get into this position in just a second, but that's just the setup, all right? Another setup that you can do is if you wanna, let's say, turn it over like this, right? Do one of those double lifts, you're gonna have to sort of maneuver this around. So what I like to do, let's say, is I turn this over, I get a break, and then I take everything and I lift it up so that the fingers are holding the card. At this point, it's very easy for me to come around, right? Instead of this being flat and I have to pick it up from here, this is higher, and it's easy for me to grab it, come around, and now it's in the exact position that I need. All right, that's step number two, or the second way to do it. The third way that I like to do it is to grab two cards off the top of the deck and now get rid of the deck altogether. So now I just have the two cards in my hand, and I just pick it up just like that, get rid of the deck, and now transfer everything here. So now that it just feels like one card is in my hand, and now from here I can move it into the position, I can turn it over and grab it like this, but the point being is that you don't have the deck anymore and you just have the two cards, right? So you can move it around here, twist it, and get it here. The most important thing about this is to be comfortable, do it in sort of in a natural action without doing too many fingering repositionings, okay? So that's step number one, the get ready to this. Step number two, this is how we're going to do the change. Two fingers are going to go on the face of the card, two fingers, and the thumb in the back, all right? Now this is the motion of the change. This is what's going to happen. Your first finger, so your first finger, your middle finger, and the thumb in the back. The middle finger is going to start to pull the card towards yourself. So the middle finger is doing this, okay? At the same time, your thumb is pushing forward, pressure, so the thumb is kind of putting pressure and going forward. So while this happens, middle finger pulls back, thumb pushes forward, and now I am gripping the card between the thumb and the first finger. Boom. All right? Now when you do this in action, it should look like this. Okay, now when you do it in slow motion, it should look like this. Push, push, and pull. Pull, push, and it's gonna click right here. Watch. It just clicked, okay? It snapped off. And this is a very important part because that's gonna make that change go faster, right? The snapping. Now, a lot of the times, if your fingers are, especially in the beginning, too far to your right-hand side, as in almost off the card, you're not going to have enough room, and this card might fall out. If you go too far with your fingers, then it's not going to, the bottom card, this card that you're changing it into, is not going to snap off. So what's going to happen is that it's going to be like this, and it's not going to snap. It can't go because your fingers were too far. All right, two fingers. All right, if you want to start with three fingers, that's fine. It's going to help you pull it, but ideally two fingers. Pull, pull, thumb pushes and then pushes down, lever that out, and get that snap, okay? So slow motion, boom, boom, and boom. It's a very, very straightforward change, and once you get it down and once you get that snap, you'll see that you'll get the speed up, and once you get the speed up, you could do a few more things to make them look better, which is going to be the next section. But that's basically it. So that's the snap change. You're here, you hold it tightly, you make sure you get your double correctly, and you do it, and that's the ending position. Now obviously if you want to take it a step further and be a little bit more fancy, you can do the change, and then you can do a twirl with this. Look at that, look how fancy that one is, of course with this hidden. And now if you want to really take this with the other hand, you can palm this off using a tenkai palm and lower your hand. So this is why it's a very nice position at the end, is after you do this, you can put it into a tenkai palm, do the twirl, place it in the other hand. This hand comes down sort of naturally, and now continue to twirl this where you're left very clean. And of course a cleanup for this, if I grab the whole deck back here, would be something like this. I'm here, I show, I do the change, and we'll talk about good ways of doing it in just a second. But now look at this card. Instead, I can twirl here. Instead of palming it off, I can very calmly come here, grab the card as I continue to twirl, and then leave this card on top. All right, it's just one way that I like to clean things up. Here, here, grab the card, twirl, or you don't have to twirl if you don't want to, you can just do this. But I like this because it has a motive of why your hands are coming together. If not, why is the deck there? So here, here, and there. Okay? All right, let me tell you something. Learning card sleights is a very small part of what we really want, and that is to be a powerful magician, a powerful performer. And to do this, we need to learn a whole range of skills so you can succeed in whatever you want to do. This is where today's video sponsor comes in, Skillshare. Skillshare is an amazing platform where you can use premium classes to take your skills and knowledge to the next level. On Skillshare, masters of their craft share their skills, and by signing up and starting to take these courses, you can accelerate your progress through immersive content in whatever you want to learn. And I'll be honest, this type of learning is my favorite, and over the last few years, I've been enjoying Skillshare a lot personally. It's helped me learn a lot in different areas that I can then apply to my own areas of expertise. So I might look at courses on photography, business, marketing, and now with my new skills, I can overall run my business better. Also, I really enjoyed the courses on public speaking and storytelling, which combined with the sleights and tricks that we are learning on this channel will make you a better magician. Now here is the cool thing. I am able to give the first 1,000 people who use the link down in the description 1 free month of Skillshare. So go ahead, check that out. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. Okay, so what are the ways that we can make this look different, or at least play around and see if it fits for you? So one of the ways is the angle, right? A lot of the times we have the card like this, just horizontal, and we do the change, and that's it. But what if we play around with the angles and see, does it look better? Tilt it diagonally, maybe this way instead, maybe upside down instead, all right? So just see how that works, because this, honestly, that looks really good as well, and I don't see a lot of people doing it that way, all right? Upside down, I don't know how that would look, but maybe that would look good. So here, I'm shaking the card and then it changes, okay? This is just off the top of my head. Another thing to think about is what do you do with your left hand, right? Your left hand is here and it snaps the card, right? It does this. But what if it, I don't know, let's just come up with stuff. What if you wave in front of it, right? So you're here and then you snap in front of it, or you give it a little flick this way, all right? So again, I'm just making these up as they come to me as different things that my left hand can do. What if instead of my left hand doing the action, it holds the card as well? So you think to yourself, oh, that now looks like a different change. Now instead of doing that action, it looks like I'm just holding the card here with both hands, and maybe you blow, all right? Genius idea, Alex, blowing the card and it changes, okay? So all of these things are meant to get your brain sort of thinking of them when you, not only with this change, with other things, because it's more important, the things that we learn with a very simple and straightforward color change like this one, take a deep dive into it, and then start applying these concepts and these thinkings to other sleights, okay? So what if I'm holding it with two hands here? And now what if I'm holding it with two fingers and two hands? And now what if I'm holding it just with one finger, one hand, and only this finger comes in when I come in to blow? Now all of a sudden this looks like a totally different change, all right? And I just changed a few things. So now two hands, twist it this way, and maybe this will work. That didn't work. So now you know, all right? Maybe this way is better. So watch. All right, and maybe that works. I'm not saying that looks good at all. It looked terrible here when I was doing it, but that's the idea, right? Start adding things, start changing things, and all of a sudden, you're gonna feel like this actually makes sense. This actually is usable, as opposed to I would never use this move. What is this? This is trash. Okay? All right, question of the day. What is your favorite color change? Leave your comments down below. Thank you so much for sticking around learning this with me. Go ahead, check out the links down below as well. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And let me know what else you want me to teach here on this channel. Peace.